Alright, I'm here with One Culture. We're doing a drum session today. We actually just finished the session, but we're going to go introduce the drums, talk about the miking. But I am here with One Culture. We got lead singer and guitarist Kurt over here. What's up, man?
What's up, guys?
We got the drummer Rusty.
Hey, what's going on?
He's the one that's on the track, so you guys are going to
Yes,
hear.
sir. Yes. Very tasteful. Hopefully,
All right.
hopefully you enjoy it.
Okay, I enjoyed it. I'll tell you that much.
Good.
But alright, let's get stuck in. Alright, I'm going to show you guys what's up with the drum mics. Let me show you what we're working with. First up, we're going to start on the kick. Kick in, I'm working with a AKG D112 in the hole, pointed slightly off the batter. On the outside, we got the Shure KSM 44. Just any large diaphragm. I just like to put that right on the side of the kick just to get this resonant head. And then pulled back a little ways, I'm working with the Coles 4038 ribbon. We're pretty lucky here at Studio 1204 to have a Coles, but really any ribbon mic, I'd like to use like some more cost-effective like Cascade Fathead sometimes. But so this is what I'm working with, the kick. We got all three. Sometimes we'll put a baffle over the kick mics, like a piano cover or something like that. Today we just went with this and we got some good results. Let's move over to the snare. Drummer today is actually working with two snares. His main snare is the one right here. On the top, I got the Audix i5, and I have that paired with an AKG 451. Really, any small diaphragm condenser works really well paired with an i5 or 57. I actually prefer the i5 over the 57 on the top, but as you can see on the bottom and on the side, we're working with a couple 57s. So on the bottom mic and the snares, I got the 57, and then I also put one on the side, and I measure them all equal distant. I just use my fingers, so 2 fingers, 2 fingers, 2 fingers, and that's how I kind of keep everything in phase. Real quick with the side snare, he's using this as kind of a timbali, so there's no snare wire on it. It's just the tom sound, and I just put a 57 on the rim there. Again, 2 fingers off the skin. Moving on to the toms. Very standard stuff here. Using some Sennheiser 421s. These I just do 3 fingers off the skins, just like that. And then as far as the tuning for these toms, I tuned them to the key of the song. So these two, the high tom and the low tom, are tuned to the tonic, and then this mid tom is tuned to the 5th. These are the top heads, and then the bottom heads I have tuned a perfect 4th above the top skin. For example, this is tuned to a B natural. The bottom head's tuned to the perfect 4th above, which is an E. So they sound like this. Right along. Again, tonic, 5th, tonic. Just like that. Moving over to the hi-hats. Really love these Zildjian new beats. As far as the mics though, again, we're going the same thing on the snare. 57 and a 451. Again, just taped together. Bust those two together. Don't have to do any EQ or anything. Works out really well. Overheads. I like to use large diaphragm condensers. Today we're lucky enough to have a pair of U87s. Pretty basic stuff. Put this one over this cymbal, this guy over these two. Measure them equal distant to the snare drum, and that's about it as far as the overheads. just make sure you get them equal distant from that snare drum. That's the main key with these overheads, so the snare really pops through. It's right in the middle of the stereo picture. Lastly, we're going to walk into the corner of the room. And then for this small room in Studio 1204, I put a AKG 414 in cardioid, and I'm facing it against the back corner of this room. It really picks up a lot of the bass. It's a natural bass trap in this corner, and it just sounds really good. I run it through the 1176, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It just sounds good. All right, so that's the mics. Let's move on into the control room. All right, so now we're out in the control room. As you can see, we have a lovely SSL 924 board we're working with. I'm just going to go through the mics from that we just talked about in the live room and show you what I'm working with. All right, so first up, I have the kick in. The only thing I'm doing with this guy on the board is a high pass at 30 hertz. Let's come over to the outboard gear. I'm running the kick in through the Pultec right here, okay? Boosting about 5 at 60. I'm also boosting about 5 up at 10K. Pretty sharp bandwidth here on this 10K, but it just adds that air to the kick in to get that punch and click. Moving back over to the board, the kick out and the kick back, I'm doing about the same. If you remember, the kick out was the large diaphragm condenser on the resonant head. The kick back was the ribbon mic pulled back a little bit. Again, high pass at 30 hertz. Going down the EQ chain. Looks like what I did was just a little bit of cut at 300 hertz and a little bit of boost at 60. And that's about it for the kick mics. Moving on to the snare. Snare top, the two mics I have on the top, the i5 and the 451. I think I'm doing the same processing, yep. So I'm high passing a little over 100, boost at 7K, and also a boost at 220. That boost at 220 really helps with adding some body to that snare, and the 7K really adds some crispness. Also, on this 421, those condensers tend to have a lot of proximity effect, so it was getting kind of mid-heavy, so I also cut that at about 350 hertz, a little bit of cut. Going on snare bottom, just a high pass at a little over 100. That's all going on with that mic. Snare side, again, high pass a little over 100. This one I also did a little bit of that low mid cut at 350 hertz. Moving on, the side snare, I almost forgot the timbali. Similar to the snare top, what I did here was I cut a little bit of the ring out, which was about a 1K, a little bit of cut there, and actually that's about it. So just that 1K cut. Toms, left them flat, just a high pass at about 70 hertz. Hi-hats, not much going on there, just a high pass. I actually go up to about 300 on the hi-hats. That's all with those. The two overheads, high passing at about 100 hertz, and that's it. Those U87s do the job for you. That's why they cost so much. Lastly, I got the room mic. The only thing I'm doing on the board is a high pass at about 100, a little bit of low mid cut, actually a good bit of low mid cut, and also some boost at 5K. But I'm also running that outboard through the 1176. Very fast, actually the fastest attack and the slowest release, and I'm just clamping down on that. When the snare hits, it's going all the way over to about 7 dBs of reduction on those snare hits, about 5 on the kicks. Everything else is in between. That just really adds that John Bottom-esque sound to that room mic. So that's about it with the outboard and going through the board itself. We're gonna get stuck in and see what these tracks sound like now.
Take control, take control.